I woke up today at 4. I think I have a problem. I always like the idea of having a workhorse PC. Right now, it doesn't make much sense to spend a lot of money, especially since my laptop is already strong enough for everything I do. So I thought that it would be a good idea to look into the second-hand market. Sure, I could search for something new, but with a small budget, new stuff usually means that you won't really be happy with it. Naturally, I was thinking about a Mac Mini. They are small, fast, especially the ARM ones. Honestly, it may be a biased opinion, but I don't think there is anything stronger than a new Mac Mini for 600 bucks. That's why I started looking for a really cheap one. I was hoping to find an older dual-core model, maybe from 2014, that still gets the job done. While I was scrolling through OLX, a Romanian marketplace, I came across this. An iMac 21.5 inches from 2011 for only 75 bucks. And I was like, alright, so what's the catch? Something has to be wrong. Plus, most of these have regular hard drives, not SSDs. So I checked the ad. In the pictures, honestly, it looked great. I scrolled down to the description for sale. iMac from 2011 looks perfect. 21.5 inches, i5 processor, AMD Radeon blah blah blah, half of gig. 10 gigs of RAM, I hope it's DDR3. Oh, 250 gigs SSD. That was a surprise. And macOS Sequoia. I mean, just the SSD alone is worth about 30 bucks and he's selling the whole thing for 75. Also, I knew the seller must be a geek nerd because Sequoia, the latest macOS it can officially run is High Sierra, an OS from 8 years ago, on a 14 years old computer. And of course, you may ask yourself, why? Why buy e-waste? Why not get something newer? And that's a good question because a lot of people buy old stuff and that old stuff is not really usable. Like you buy something, you get the nostalgia and then you don't really use it because it's old. But in my case, it actually fit my needs. A quad-core i5 is more enough for browsing and some multitasking with 10 gigs of RAM. The SSD is a huge plus, especially since these machines are hard to repair. And to be honest, this thing is faster than some 2017 iMacs or 2016 MacBooks. So the year doesn't really matter. The only real problem is the operating system. Being stuck on High Sierra means I can't even run my usual browser, Brave. Only Firefox still get updates on that OS. But no problem. I thought that I could install Windows or Linux and keep High Sierra for dual boot. I talked to the seller, got the PC and it looked basically brand new. Just a small scratch on the stand. But because it's on the back and it was that cheap, who really cares? I plugged in using some random keyboard and mouse I found in the attic and voila, it works. Kind of. You see, it's not a good idea to push these old machines with OpenCore Legacy Patcher, a tool to force old Macs to run newer macOS versions, because it lags like crazy, which just proves the theory. PCs don't really get slower, it's the software that just becomes too complex for the hardware. If, for example, High Sierra apps will still get updates, I'd use that, hell yeah. But we all know this slowdown is intentional because the economy needs to grow, right? And consumerism, basically. I tried reinstalling High Sierra but got errors because of OpenCore. I honestly didn't even bother anymore. I said forget it, I'll just install Windows. I downloaded Balena Etcher, got my USB stick ready, but just the thought of download Windows to USB gave me flashbacks of errors, blue screens, drivers, regedit. So I passed. Unix is just easier. And I thought, hey, this would be a good chance to learn Linux. It might even look good on a CV, right? To know all the operating systems like Linux, macOS, and Windows. Plus, Linux and Mac are like cousins, they even smoke cigarettes sometimes. So, yeah, I just went with Linux Mint. I saw that PewDiePie used that too, and even the AI recommended it after I told it what I wanted to do with the PC. So I downloaded the Linux, installed it super smoothly, like no errors, really fast, and in just 15 minutes, like honestly, I thought that it will be a pain, complicated, but no. Turns out that you can see it's Unix based. Terminal is the CMD in Windows and terminal in the macOS, and it's super easy to use, especially now with the AI telling you the exact commands. You just copy and paste basically. Basically, right now I will do a thing. Oh no, insides. I'm going to shut it down and do a boot test. And now you can see also how glossy this thing can be. I think all Apple products are this glossy, from phones to Macs to these iMac things. I mean, I think there are still PCs today that boot up slower, so I think it's fine, I'd say, for now. For a 14 years old PC, it's just fine. So this is Linux Mint. I customized it a little bit. Like I said, it's a 2011 iMac with a 2nd gen Intel Core i5, 2 graphics card but both sucks, 10 gigs of DDR3 RAM, and I installed Mint, and I think it's the latest version. The first thing I liked about Linux is that I can do this. A thing that I can do on Mac, because yeah, you spend 4000 euros on a Mac but still can do this thing. At first it looked kind of like Windows, but I moved the navigation bar to the top and added a mini dock that acts like macOS. I tried to import Mac icons, but I only managed to get the Bluetooth ones working. The thing is, I don't really know much about Linux yet, so I still have to learn it, but I'd say it's a good start. I already have a problem. The Linux logo disappeared. It used to be that green thing right there, but now it's gone and I don't really know what happened. To be honest, I expected it to be more like Windows, like I said. I thought that just because I don't really know Linux, and I had this surprise that Linux is more like macOS. You don't have a local disk C or D like on Windows, you have a file system just like a Mac where you put all your stuff. And you can do a lot of things through the terminal, which is really cool. I really like that. Just type a command and boom, it installs everything. Another cool thing is the shortcuts. For example, I set up Nightlight and it turns on by combination from my keyboard. I think this is awesome and you can basically make any shortcut you want. This is the kind of system where you install it and it does exactly what you want it. It doesn't throw stuff at you, it doesn't push AI, ads, or updates. You tell it what to do. And that, wow, what a concept. In terms of speed, it's kind of like this. It just works and it runs really fast. I honestly didn't expect such an old system to run this fast, but apparently Linux can actually bring old computers back to life, even ones with very outdated hardware. And again, I'm not planning to do much with it. I tried making a little music program, but I still have some more to do on it. The only thing I really installed it is a lot of music so I can just play it all day long. I gave it around 2500 songs, well, 2422 because the other three doesn't count. Right now, I'm trying to move away from subscriptions like Spotify because Spotify is trash when it comes to paying artists. I've started building a little collection of tracks and I've added a lot more here, no ads, highest quality, and it sounds great. I don't know if I recommend Linux to everyone. I'm a tech nerd and I like doing everything from the terminal, but that doesn't mean a lot of people would enjoy that. I think very few people would actually use it. You don't have to use it, but if you want to get the most out of the Linux, then yeah, you kinda have to.